Hey, Shalom Yahweh Shim Yahushai broke a thumb to the brother. Shalom Yahweh Shamar Alathah by Shim Yahushai to the sisters. This is the ISUPK side of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. I'm the Commander General Yohana. You understand? And today is the Las Vegas Tuesday Brotherhood class, right? Give a hand up for the Lord, right? Before we go into the topic and everything, I just want to do a quick little plug. You understand? This upcoming weekend out in California is we're having the West Coast annual cookout. You understand? Make sure that if you Black, Hispanic, Native American, man, make sure that you're out there so you can actually get a taste of what true brotherhood and sisterhood is really like. You understand? Because quite frankly, you'll never be able to get that type of brotherhood anywhere else outside of the ISUPK. You understand? So now with that being said, so today's topic, we're going to be reading over Bell and the Dragon. This is actually one of my more favorite books. It is my favorite book, honestly. Reason being for going over this, my objective for y'all is to understand out of the Bible that it doesn't matter what kind of holiday, it doesn't matter what kind of worship outside of the Most High God, it's in vain, and it's against the Lord. You understand? So Lord allow, I'm able to enlighten y'all on just that. You understand? Before we get into the topic, or before we get into the actual topic, get into the class, break open this, this amazing book, it's going to ask that everybody does their part to make sure that they like and share the class. You understand? Everybody do their part to make sure that we spread this, make sure that this word gets out to the four corners of the earth. You understand? There could be a brother, a so-called Negro, Latino, or Native American man or woman that is on any of your social media outlets, and they're looking to change their lives for the better. You understand? And quite frankly, the only way that a so-called, those said people are able to do just that is if they come into the ISUPK under Commander General Yohana, whom of which will have men that he appointed to teach his people to follow God the way that the Most High God had commanded us to. You understand? So let's make sure that we like and share these classes. And then also, if there's anybody that's online that has any questions, whether it's on topic or off topic, feel free. And in fact, I highly encourage y'all to post it up in the chat. You understand? If I'm unable to answer it myself scripturally, I'll write your question down and I'll take that question to a mightier man than myself. Reason being is we're not the Christian church. We're not going to sit here and do a little, song and dance to make you feel good, say something that just sounds good, tell you to just go and pray about it, when at the end of the day, we do have all the answers here in the ISUPK. You understand? We have access to all of the answers. I may not have all of them personally, but I'm able to get them personally for you. You understand? All you got to do is just ask those questions, right? All right. So go ahead, get this all ready and started. All right, like and share for myself, and then we'll get into this topic, right? Actually, I did have something that I wanted, a little something that I wanted to read for y'all. It's this article that's crazy, man. The title in itself, like, just I had to bring this out in class because what we got going on today, in Israel, and is it Hamas or Hamas, whatever? I don't know what they're called. I really don't care. Not like that to pronunciate their name correctly, but so it says, freed Israeli hostage explains why she took a Hamas militant's hand You understand? So this is something that I wanted to read for y'all because there was something in the article that really stood out, right? And I want to see if there's anybody online that can pick up on what it is that stood out and also why. You understand the significance of it standing out. And I'm not gonna read the whole thing just for time's sake because I really do. You know, for one, like I said, I really enjoy Bell and the Dragon, the breakdown of Bell and the Dragon, but you know, it is a very important topic because you know what do we got coming up next week? Next Tuesday is you know, people are celebrating Halloween. A lot of people are going to celebrate Halloween during the weekend, you know, because that's a school night, that's a work night. You know what I'm saying? So I figured it would be appropriate to at least get part 1 done today, and then if part 2 is needed, you understand, we'll pick up next Tuesday in the following class. Right. Okay. Let me just get this clear and then all right. So this is by CBS News, right? Titled again, freed Israeli hostage explains why she took a Hamas militant's hand by Emmett Leons. In case anybody wants to read the whole thing for themselves. Right. So let's go ahead and read this. So it says, gotta bear with me. I don't know how to enunciate their names. Yocheved Lifshitz, one of 2 elderly hostages released Monday by Hamas, told journalists Tuesday morning that she went through hell. Right. So this is a woman who was held as a hostage by Hamas. All right. She said that she went through hell and was beaten on the day that she was captured. Right. But that she took the hand, but that she shook the hand, Salakia, of a Hamas, I think it's pronounced Hamas, Salakia, the hand of a Hamas militant as she was returned because she was treated well in captivity. Man, that's this like just kind of wild to me, right? Lifshitz and Salakia. I'm probably enunciating her name wrong. It's spelled Lifshitz. So, you know, I'm doing the best I can. Lifshitz. Salakia. I'm not trying to be funny. Lifshitz was abducted with her 83-year-old husband Oded from their home at the Ner Oz kibbutz, close to the border with Gaza. But Lifshitz said she was not held in captivity with Oded, who remained missing on Tuesday. Hamas said it had released Lifshitz, 85, along with 79-year-old Nurit Cooper on health grounds late Monday. The Palestinian group, long listed as a terrorist organization by Israel, the U.S., and many other nations, is still holding more than 200 people hostage after its unprecedented October 7th rampage across southern Israel. Right? So, you know what? We'll read a couple more paragraphs. Israeli officials say the group killed more than 1,400 people in its initial siege and with its ongoing rockets attacks from Gaza. Health officials in Hamas-ruled Gaza said Tuesday that more than 5,700 people had been killed by Israel's airstrikes, but Israel disputes that figure. Lifshitz and her husband are longtime human rights activists, and her family has said they've both worked with a local organization that helps bring injured Palestinians to area hospitals. Video of the moment she was handed over from her Hamas captors on Monday shows her shaking hands with one of the militants saying "Shalom," a traditional Hebrew greeting meaning peace. At a news conference Tuesday, alongside her daughter Sharon, whatever, Lifshitz described how Hamas militants stormed, beat, kidnapped without distinction between young and old on the day of the October 7th attack. Now, for those of y'all that are online that are watching, right, I want to see if anyone is able to tell me what exactly I'm referring to that stands out in this article. And there's like a couple things that stands out, but there's one thing in particular that should really stand out. And I'll give y'all a few moments to read over it or to come up with the answer. Salaki. All right, for time's sake, the one thing that I feel like that should have stood out to everybody was, for one, they described this as captivity, which technically it was. They was taken captive. She was kidnapped. You know what I'm saying? But in the midst of that captivity, only initially were these young and old folks being beaten, right? And then soon after, hell, so she was just released on Tuesday. As of 12 hours ago, oh, they're actually ahead. So what? From the 7th, what is today's date? So 17 days of captivity, basically, right? I feel like that should really stand out to everybody, because you know what? These people that are committing terrorist attacks, you understand, between Israel and Hamas, you understand, because y'all got to realize that even though that the media is painting this picture that Hamas, committed a terrorist attack against Israel, those people that are occupying Israel they're not innocent. You understand? They've actually been terrorizing Hamas, those people in Gaza, the Hamas group, for a very, very long time. You understand? So basically, it's what Hamas did on October 7th was a retaliation, and in some sense, it was warranted. You understand? But they get this Israeli woman gets put into captivity, only initially beat that day, and then she says that during her time of captivity, it wasn't that bad. In fact, she even she said that they were, what did it say exactly? It says she was treated well in captivity. You understand? These Israelis and Palestinians, you understand, they do not get along at all. They're constantly harassing one another. Hold on, Salakia, y'all. I just kind of realized. Salakia. I don't know if that just happened or what. Salakia. Right? So the Israelis and the Palestinians have pretty much been at war with one another for, pretty much since 1948. Because those Israelis that occupy Israel, they were given that land by the British, Rothschild, in fact, I can't remember what the act or the order was called off the top of my head. If anybody knows what it is, feel free to post it in the chat. It would actually be appreciated if you did. But the Rothschilds gave those, the Jewish people, those Israelis, that the land of Israel that we know of, today. You understand? And it's actually technically not even a country. It's a military. It's an occupation. They're occupying. That's why I keep saying, those people that are there, they're occupying. And the Philistines, even though Israel does not belong to them, it actually belongs to the so-called Negroes, Native Americans, and Latinos, right? That's our land. But those two have been feuding over it because, they basically scooted them Philistines out, right? And so, in other words, the point is that these two people have a major feud with one another. It's a religious thing. It's a land, it's a feud over land. It's a feud over, many things, right? There's many layers to it, right? And yet, when they're put into captivity, when one of them puts the other into captivity, how old did it say she was? An 83-year-old. Oh, Salaki. Her husband was 83. She is 85. An 85-year-old woman will describe the way that her captors treated her for those 17 days as well. She was treated well by her captors, some of which these people hate each other. Now, why am I bringing that out? Why is that something that is so important? Well, let's just look at how the so-called Jewish man, because mind you, the people that had funded the the Atlantic slave trade, the Atlantic slave trade ships with like insured the ships and whatnot, those were Jewish families. You understand? Those were those fake Jews families, right? They funded that. They insured those ships and whatnot. Basically funded damn near the whole Atlantic slave trade to make this all happen. You understand? So they had a very major hand in how I want to say, well, of course, the destruction of our people, but the mistreatment, the way that our people was mistreated by, pretty much everybody during the Atlantic slave trade. You understand? And they continue to be mistreated as well. They say that we've been released from slavery. So what is that, like 1886 or something like that? I know my date probably way off, but I know 1880s, right? 1800s, late 1800s, right? Well, even since we've been released from slavery, which, mind you, was a terrible and horrific slavery. We blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans don't have the opportunity to say that, well, Massa treated me well. So when Massa let me go, I had to shake his hands. No. And you know why? Because you can fast forward it to today and you can see how Massa's children is still treating us today. You understand? Where they're still shooting us dead in the streets. They're doing, redlining. You understand? They're keeping us from, they have yet to pick up the boot so that we can get up. You understand? They continuously kick us while we're down. You understand? Hell, the one major opportunity that's the most well known is for black people to grow and prosper on their own was Black Wall Street. But we all see what happened with that. That was when the first aerial terrorist attack happened on American soil, because the so-called white man was getting in helicopters, dropping grenades on our Black Wall Street because we built all this on our own. You understand? But yet, when these people are at feuds with one another and they're taking each other captive, they treat each other well. That in itself should let you know that these curses that you read in this Bible, you understand? When it talks about how the other nations will mistreat you and see you by nothing more than a byword, or you understand they're going to kill you, you know that doesn't pertain to anybody else, even if they're feuding over land. You understand? Even if they're feuding over their religion, even if they claim they want to eradicate man, then actually that's the thing, they don't even want to eradicate the other one. Israelis is the Israeli occupation that they have going on over there. Part of their how do you say I could say takeover, but that's not the word that I'm looking for. But hey, shalom, little Christ, sir. It's good to see you in the class. What is the word that I want to use, doggone it? Part of, well, we'll say part of their MO of fully taking over Israel is to also win the hearts and minds of, you know, everybody surrounding them. So like a thorough colonization, but this time a little bit less without the sword. You understand? But that's how it kind of started off as where they were trying to keep it without the sword, at least in the context of them not drawing the sword first. We all know how the so-called white man, the devil that the Bible speaks of, how he's crafty in his ways. You understand? I mean, I'm not saying that this is, you know, the official UPK stance. I'm not saying that this is particularly true, but I will say do not be surprised if in a few years we come to find out that either America or, you know, one of the oppressors' countries, Britain, America, Israel, you understand, somewhere, you know, them Europeans, what have you, if one of those countries had staged that Hamas how do you say that Hamas attack, and technically it wasn't even really them, it was really, you know, Israel or America or you know, one of those, you know, the British and English. You understand? Don't be surprised if that comes to pass, for us to learn that it was actually them. You understand? To get that going, because then it allows Israel to play innocent, which is what they've been doing this entire time, right? But anyways, back to what back to the point. That being, these other countries deal with one another. These other nations, Salakia, these all of the heathen nations deal with one another with some type of love and respect. Sure, sometimes they'll go overboard with each other, but primarily they deal with each other in a way that they will never deal with you, Negro, Latino, and Native American man and woman. Just look at the history. Just look at the facts. You understand? And mind you, we're watching something now that's happening over the seas. And I just read you an article that they're treating them well. You understand? She shook this man's hand. I be goddamn. I will be goddamn when Yahushua returns and cracks that sky, and Lord allow I have that privilege of being taken up on that chariot. And whenever we put back on the earth to rebuild it and whatnot, there's a surviving devil down there that wants to shake my hand. And what, man, it's too late for that. You already done kept my people goddamn captive. You understand? Beating my people. Did terrible, horrible things to my people. You understand? I be goddamn. You understand? Hold on 1 second. Right? But you know what? They're able to war with one another and kumbaya. And the crazy thing is we're blacks, Latinos, and Native American men and women, we're forced to kumbaya with our oppressors without ever getting upset, even though they hold us accountable for, I mean, stereotypes that really ain't even true. That we're the thugs and the gangsters when that entire concept came from, was it the Irish or I think it was the Italians actually. You understand? That came from them. But we're the thugs and the gangsters, man. You understand? All right. So I did want to bring that article out, just talk about that a little bit with y'all. You understand? Just to shed a little bit of light and open your eyes to the fact that, these other nations can be at war with one another, have their how do you say be at war with each other, be in a position to hate one another, but yet still treat each other with kindness. You understand? Still treat each other with some level of respect. They can still find it in themselves to forgive one another, to make things right. Yeah, there you go. Try to make things right amongst one another, but nobody wants to make things right with the atrocities that was committed upon us, blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans. You understand? All right. So now we got that article out the way. Let's go ahead and crack open Bell and the Dragon. Like I said, this is one of my more favorite books to read, like hands down. You know what I'm saying? Like it's this. So I'm a little bit excited to break this down again for y'all. You know what I'm saying? I know I've done it before, but it's always good to have refreshers, especially when we're coming around this time of holidays. You know what I'm saying? Like I had said at the beginning of class, we coming up on about to have what you call Halloween next Tuesday. Pretty much this weekend. During what Saturday or Friday, Saturday, Sunday, what have you. Them little kids is gonna be putting on them stupid devil costumes to walk up to strangers to ask them for candy. Even though that we teach, I grew up in a generation where I was told not to talk to strangers. You understand? If a stranger offers you a piece of candy, you're supposed to say no. But yet, except for Halloween, ridiculousness. But you know what I'm saying? And then of course, soon after, so it's October, then November. Then November we got Thanksgiving. And then, soon after that, we got Christmas, and then we got doggone New Year's. And y'all got to remember that with each and every single one of these wicked holidays, there is an idol that you're worshiping. You understand? There is a false god that is actually tied to each and every single holiday. That includes, Valentine's Day, Easter, the 4th of July. I think that's all the holidays. I believe that pretty much covers all of them. But you understand, all of these holidays, and it does, and not just with those are just the American holidays, but all of the holidays that are practiced in all the other countries. You understand? You're worshiping an idol. You're worshiping a false god. You understand? Which quite frankly, if you worship If you keep the high holy days that are written in the Bible, there too you are worshiping a God. I'm not gonna say, obviously it's not an idol, because that is, that is the God, the one and only living God. You understand? But the point is when you follow those customs of, whether it's, the customs of the Bible, you're showing that you are following and obeying that God. If you are doing the customs of Christmas, of Halloween, of Easter, 4th of July, what have you, you are following those customs of which they come from. You understand? Like what Halloween, that came from the Celtic Druids. You understand? Because what they used to do was on Halloween's evening, they would go and kidnap virgin girls, little kids, little virgin little girls, like 6 to 8 years old, stuff like that. And they would do like a ritual that lasted, a few days. And at the end of it, they sacrificed, rape and molest this little girl, and then they sacrifice her. You understand? You keeping Halloween, what the Christian church did when they went to spread, when they were doing the Christian crusade, part of the agreement with those Celtic Druids was, hey, listen, we'll let you keep this custom. Halloween, I have to change it a little bit, but we'll let you keep this custom. You just come worship our God. You come worship this, this cross, this white Jesus, Caesar Borgia. You understand? You come worship this, and you can do what you do. We'll water it down just a tad bit, but as long as at the end of the day you're submitting to our God and you self-proclaim yourself as a Christian, you can do this still. You understand? There's Salakia. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna put some. Give me 1 second. We got somebody at the door. I'm gonna put music on for y'all just a second. That way y'all ain't just, y'all can at least jam out to something. You know what I'm saying? Give me 1 second. I'll be right back, y'all. Salaki.
But I took an oath that I'ma stand up and blaze the truth on any motherfucker. Yeah. Bury me a brick. Up at night I never sleep. Play me how to set my people free. Bury me a brick. Revolution that be moving. Got the feds, get a pilot in these streets. Nigga, bury me a brick. Just go an honor to my dad's name and die before he ever got to see. Bury me a brick. If it's devil, rest in peace. Got my kids dead and died on the street. Bury me a brick. So cold-blooded, but the hoes love it. Posted with the low stugging. At 15, I got caught up in the wrong spot. The cop tried to want me till my nose bloody. Now I'm like, bad. Shoot up all my niggas in that black. Troopers with them killers in the cat. Catch me on the corner going hard with them motherfucking backs. Blaze on your bitch ass. Drop the truth for change and I get cash. Bring it to the table, then we split that. This that nation build a blow to make the dead turn their neck like a bootleg. Bury me a preach. Up at night I never sleep. Play me how to set my people free. Bury me a preach. Revolution that be moving. Got the feds, get a pilot in these streets. Nigga, bury me a preach. Just go an honor to my dad's name and die before he ever got to see. Bury me a preach. If it's devil, rest in peace. Got my kids dead and died on the street. Bury me a preach. I'm from the South and moving trail up in Cardell. Met a nigga by the name of Cardell. When they ain't his real name, he put me on the work from the Cardell.
All right, Salaki, y'all. All right. So where was I? What was I saying? So, So yeah, y'all gotta understand that when you are keeping these customs, doing these holidays, you are, because a lot of Christians like to try to say, oh yeah, the Ten Commandments, you got to follow the Ten Commandments. Well, what's I believe it's the very first commandment that the Christians say that there is. But mind you, there isn't just 10 commandments. There's a whole lot more than that. You understand? But it says that there shall be no other God before me, right? Well, when you worship these, when you worship, when you keep Halloween, when you keep Thanksgiving, when you keep Christmas, all of these holidays, whatever Hindu holiday, African booty scratcher holiday, what have you, when you keep those customs, you are having another God before the Most High God. It's as simple as that. So you are offending the Most High God. You understand? You are disgusting to the Most High God, mind you. Salakia, all right? So, and we had a quick little history lesson on where Halloween came from. And of course, these things that you hear in all these classes, I think one of the most important things and what helped me really come into the ISUPK was the entire time whenever we're teaching, we encourage those that are listening, we encourage those that are learning from us to don't listen to what I'm saying. Research it for yourself. You understand? Anything and everything that I say, research it for yourself. Look up where the origins of Halloween actually came from. You know what I'm saying? Because I remember growing up believing that Halloween originated from the so-called Mexicans. Because what was it called? Day of the Dead or Hallows Dead or something like that. Salakia. You know what I'm saying? I thought that's where Halloween came from. Halloween does not come from the so-called Mexicans. It comes from the Celtic Druids. You understand? And it's a totally different ritual, more disgusting ritual than even what the so-called Mexicans are doing with the Day of the Dead. Now, mind you, they shouldn't be doing that. They're still at fault with that. But needless to say, at least they're not, sacrificing and molesting, little kids. You get what I'm saying? But so let's go ahead and get into this, right? The book of the Belly of the Dragon, chapter 1, verse 1. And King Astyages was gathered to his fathers, and Cyrus of Persia received his kingdom. And Daniel conversed with the king and was honored above all his friends. And so, yes, this is Daniel from like the book of Daniel, right? And so Daniel was taught to amongst the king, amongst with the king, right? And was honored above all his friends, above all of the king's friends. So the king's friends, Salakia. So in other words, Daniel's word, what Daniel had to say, his his advice was weighed heavier with the king than it did than any of his other advisors. You understand? And when you read the Bible, you'll see that there's actually quite a theme with that. You understand? In fact, the Bible does go into say, and I'll pull it real quick. Let me see if I can find it. What is that verse? How does it go? Even your enemies will be at peace with you. There we go. So this is the book of Proverbs, chapter 16, verse 7, right? It says, when a man's ways please the Lord, he maketh even his enemies to be at peace with him. You understand? So when you please the Most High God, and how do you please the Most High God? You're obedient to him. You understand? And how do you be obedient to the Most High God? You follow his laws, statutes, commandments. You don't follow after these other gods. You understand? You don't keep the ways of the other nations. You do, Salakia, you do as the Most High God had commanded you to do, Black, Latino, and Native American man and woman. You understand? And when you do that and you please the Most High God through your actions, not your lip service, but your actions, the Most High God will make it so that even the other nations, they'll be at peace with you. And it's even to the extent of where they'll go to you for your wisdom. You understand? Because it's just like what it says in Deuteronomy. I'm not going to pull that. I'm actually just going to paraphrase it just for the sake of time. You understand? The other nations, when they stop doing, when we are put in a position where that the Most High God puts us in a position of power because we are pleasing the Most High God, the other nations look at us and say, well, by surely this is a wise and knowledgeable nation. These are a wise and knowledgeable people. And where do we get our wisdom and our knowledge from? That we get that from these scriptures. We get it from the Most High God. You understand? And so it even goes to the extent that the kings of these other nations will pick us to be their advisors. Now, Daniel's not the only example. You also had Joseph. Joseph was one of the Pharaoh's advisors as well in ancient Egypt. You understand? When the Lord is pleased with you, the other nations, they'll put the other nations will just put you in a seat of power. You understand? In a seat of advisement. You understand? Salakia. Right? So verse 3. Now the Babylons had an idol called Baal, and there were spent upon him every day 12 great measures of fine flour and 40 sheep and 6 vessels of wine. So what this is saying right now is that in Babylon, they had an idol called Baal, right? So it was some statue or what have you, that they named Baal, okay? And every day they offered this statue, this non-living statue, 12 great measures of fine flour, 40 sheep, and 6 vessels of wine. Talking about a freaking feast. 40 sheep, 6 vessels of wine. You understand? 12 great measures of fine flour. Now, that's a decent sized bag. You know what I'm saying? This is a good sized feast. You understand? Read it on. Verse 4, and the king worshipped it and went to Salakia. And the king worshipped it and went daily to adore it. But Daniel worshipped his own God. And the king said unto him, why dost not thou worship Baal? Very self-explanatory, right? Verse 5, who answered and said, because I may not worship idols made with hands, but the living God who have created the heaven and the earth and hath sovereignty over all flesh. And see, look, and Daniel even spoke boldly, you understand, to this king of Babylon. King of Babylon's like, man, hold on. How come you not worshiping, this idol Baal? You see that I'm doing it. You see that we're all doing it. You understand? What's your deal? How come you not worshiping Baal? What's the problem? And Daniel gave him a one West answer. You understand? Daniel stood up, girded up his loins, and said, nah, I'm not supposed to worship, things that are made by man's hands. You understand? I worship the Most High God, the one and true living God. You understand? Slaggy. I took out my glasses to clean them and I doggone lost my place. And I worship with hands, but the living God who created the heaven and earth has sovereignty over it. You understand? So yeah, I worship the Most High God, the one and only God. You understand? And mind you, listen to what he said. Right? Daniel told the king that you are worshiping it's just an idol made by man. It's not real. Daniel said this to the king. This is how Daniel is speaking to this man who has the power to, to move armies, to go and decimate other nations. You understand? To go and take what he wants on the earth, right? But yet Daniel's to his face, man, you just worshiping. You worshiping something that is not alive, something that's not real. It's just made by man. That's it, right? Let's read on. Verse 6. Then said the king unto him, thinkest thou not that Baal is a living God? Seest thou not how much he eateth and drinketh every day? Hey, shalom, Lord of Christ, Captain Kwam, it's good to see you, sir. You understand? So now the king is answering, responded to Daniel. Say, hold on, like you don't think that Baal is alive? Can't you see that, like, how much Baal is eating and drinking? So the king is really, he being bamboozled. We all know that Baal ain't real, but as we read on, we're gonna see Daniel debunk it. You understand? But the king really believes that that Baal is eating all this lamb, all this fine flour, drinking all of this wine. For those of y'all that have knowledge of Christianity, let alone have been in Christianity, right? Now we got a couple people online who can tell me, what does that sound like? Baal is, every day. Now, of course, this is an everyday thing, right? So that's my one semi hint to y'all, for y'all to tell me what this right here sounds like. Baal does this every day, where he eats all the food and drinks all the food that is left out as an offering every day. In Christianity, what does that sound like? And this is kind of like my point with, what I brought out, when I was explaining where Halloween came from, because part of the Christian Crusades, of course, there was a lot of swinging the sword and shedding the blood, but they also had alternative tactics of when they were conquering certain people, especially in lands of which they didn't feel like their the Crusaders military would be very effective. You know what I'm saying? Where they think they would take heavy losses. You get what I'm saying? So they would take the alternative route to get these people to submit themselves to their God, which is, okay, listen, you submit to my God, but submit to my God, and we'll let you keep this. You can keep your ways, but still submit to my God. You get what I'm saying? So like with the Judaic people, they pretty much just had to stop sacrificing the kids. But we know that a lot of Christians is pedophiles. So they probably told them, hey, just don't kill the kid. Do what you're gonna do with the child, but just don't kill him. That's pagan. The shedding of the blood of that child, that's pagan. You get what I'm saying? There was what is it called? Compromise. They made compromises to get these other nations to give up their ways to come and become Christians. But not all of it. Like I said, it was a compromise. You understand? All right. So for time's sake, nobody has answered my question. Man, that's Christmas. What do you do? What does everybody do for, on Christmas Eve, right before you go to bed? You leave out some milk and you leave out some cookies. And when you a child, you do that. You're kind of excited. You wake up the very next day, you see the plate of cookies is empty, just got nothing but crumbs, because that fat ass imaginary man ate all them chocolate chip cookies at at hundreds of millions of different homes. You understand? All that milk at hundreds of millions of different homes. Or actually, no, I believe Christianity is in the billions, would it be, right? So billions of homes. Right? That's that's Christianity right there. That's Christmas right there. That same exact concept. And of course, we can go into the book of Jeremiah. What is it? Jeremiah 10:5, I believe, is where it's at, where it even goes blatantly talks about how we're not supposed to, matter of fact, just because we're going into the whole holiday season, we're going to pull it out real quick. We'll go ahead. We're already prepared to have a part 2 of this class, right? So this is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 10 and verse 2. We're going to start from 2. Matter of fact, no, we're going to start from verse 1, right? Slide. 1 second. I left the damn door. Slide. 1 second. All right. So Salaki. So we're going to start from verse 1, right? So this is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 10 and verse 1. Hear ye the word which the Lord speaketh unto you, O house of Israel. So now y'all see how the Most High God, it's specifying that the Most High God is speaking to a particular house, a particular family. And that family, that house is the family of Israel, the Israelites. You understand? Verse 2. Thus saith the Lord, learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them. You understand? So the Most High God said, learn not the way of don't learn the way of these other nations. And don't be dismayed. Don't be in awe at the things that they are in awe at. You understand? Like the solar eclipse. I believe we just had one just a few days ago. It didn't really affect Nevada, or no, I should say Las Vegas. I think we had to go about, I think it was 50 miles north of Las Vegas for you to actually see the shadow, the casted shadow, or whatever for the solar eclipse. I forgot. Mind you, I'm not dismayed at those types of things. I don't get caught up in awe. Like, don't get me wrong, I think space and stuff like that is interesting, but it's not something I worship. You understand? And that was a day that we was also putting in work for the Lord. You know what I'm saying? But anyways, right? The Lord is telling us not to get caught up in those things that they get caught up in. All right. Verse 3, for the customs of the people are vain. For one cutteth a tree out of the forest, the work of the hands of the workman with an axe. You understand? So it says the customs of the people are vain. So, Baal, them creating Baal was in vain. Them bringing all those the food offering to Baal and all that wine to Baal was in vain. You understand? Just like how when they go out and how a man, it says, for one cutteth a tree out of the forest, the work of the hands of a workman with an axe. What is that? That's a Christmas tree. And I'm gonna prove it even further. Right? Verse 4, they deck it with silver and with gold. They fasten it with nails and with hammers that it move not. How do you get the tree to stand upright in your living room while it's sitting there dying? Because you just cut it down out of the out of the forest, right? You fasten it with nails. You get what I'm saying? And then of course with nails and hammers. You know, of course, okay. I guess they made it a little bit easier where you get this little the little screw, the little long screw things, you know, at four corners, and it holds it in place. I guess you have that. You get what I'm saying? But you hold it fast, right? And then of course, once you have it stood upright and it's being held upright, what do they follow up to do? They deck it with silver and with gold. Yeah. Please. You understand? They deck it with silver and with gold. That's your ornaments. That's the gold and silver tassels. You understand what I'm saying? That's literally Christmas. Specify the entire custom right there. You understand? And mind you, what did the Most High God say about Christmas? Because a lot of people try to say, "Oh, Christmas ain't even the Bible." Technically, it is, because we just read about it. What you do to keep the ways of Christmas, it's not called Christmas, right? But that custom is here in the Bible. And what does the Most High God say about it? For the customs of the people are vain. Let's look up the word vain, right? Let's do that real quick. And then we're going to get back into Babylon Dragon. Vain, adjective, having or showing an excessively high opinion of no, that's not it. There we go. Vain, adjective, producing no result, useless. You understand? Those customs, you keeping Christmas, you keeping Halloween, you keeping Thanksgiving is useless. And it produces no result in a positive factor, because you know what? You know what result it does produce? It upsets the Most High God. It turns him to wrath. You understand what I'm saying? Especially in like one holiday in particular, you know, it turns the Most High God into wrath, and that's Thanksgiving. You are celebrating the death and destruction of the so-called Native Americans, our Gadite and Reubenite brothers and sisters. You understand? Oh my God, that was way more than you said. You understand? You are celebrating the death, the genocide of our Reubenite and Gadite brothers and sisters. And you think the Most High God is going to bless that turkey? You think the Most High God is going to bless that unclean swine that you have on your dinner table that the Most High God told you not to do in the first place? You understand? The funny thing is about Christians, right? And all these holidays, they swear that they love God, but in the midst of it, not only are they keeping customs and traditions that turns the Most High God to wrath, but they're also stuffing their faces, making their bellies full of things that the Most High God told them not to eat. Like, it's just, it really does baffle me how clueless and uneducated Christians truly are when it comes to, you know, when it really comes time to show, like, okay, how do you worship God? How do you love God? Well, you know, I pray over my food and I do this and I do that. But okay, so you show up at church on Sunday, and then up until next Sunday, you putting rod in your behind and in your mouth as a man. As a woman, you go into the stripper, you get on them stripper poles, taking your clothes off for anybody that'll give you $1. But you love God, right? You're going to sell drugs to your brothers and to your sisters. You understand? But you love God. It truly baffles me, the way of a Christian. You understand? All right. And especially when we get onto these holiday breakdowns, it just shows that Christians don't read the Bible. No, you know what they do? And this is why I always say what I say in the beginning of the class when I tell y'all, if there's anybody that has any questions, feel free to, type them in the chat. If I don't have the answer, I will write your answer down so I can take it to a mightier man than myself to get you the answer. Because here in the ISUPK, we deal with the truth. We are not like the Christian church. We're not like the Christian pastors, where we're going to do a song and a dance to make you feel good because we don't know the doggone answer. You understand? That's not what we do. But the Christians do, because they only want to read and listen to the things that make them feel good. Like pay your tithe, for whatever that is mesmerizing to them, but hell, it be getting them to pay their goddamn tithes. You know what we do in the ISUPK? Pay your goddamn tithes, because it's a commandment, and you're supposed to follow all the commandments. And if you don't, that's between you and the Lord. Simple as that. Just as simple as that. In the ISUPK, we are there for our brothers and sisters, but we're not going to hold your hand, because at the end of the day, I'm not the one who can get you salvation. I'm not the one who could put a crown of life, that crown of life, get you that crown of life on your head. You understand? I can't get you on that chariot. But you know who I can get on the chariot? Who I can get on the, to win that crown of life? Myself. And that's why I'm in the ISUPK. You understand? So that I, Lord allowed, can achieve those things. You understand? So all right, it's just, man, this whole holiday breakdown thing, it gets me a little bit stirred up, because it's like, how do these Christians really miss over these things? Like, it really truly baffles me. It's where was I? Bell and the Dragon, chapter 1, verse. We left that. We'll read verse 6 again. Then said the king unto him, thinkest thou not that Bel is a living God? Seest thou not how much he eateth and drinketh every day? Hey, Shalom, Yahweh, Trooper, it's good to see you. All right? And make sure you keep staying in these classes, man. It's good to see you, Trooper. You understand? All right. Verse 7. Then Daniel smiled. And you know that kind of smile when somebody says something to, like, you about to cut them, like you basically just set them up for them to alley-oop you, but they on the other team. So he's just like, man, that smile, just you done effed up today. I'm about to show you, Lord, King of Babylon, right? Then Daniel smiled and said, O king, be not deceived, for this is but clay within and brass without, and did not never eat or drink anything. So Daniel smiled and was like, dude, this statue is nothing but, in the inside is clay. On the outside, it's brass. Because mind you, he just said earlier that Baal was something that was formed by the hands of man. And so now he's telling the king, it's just clay and he said bronze, right? Clay and bronze? Brass. Clay and brass. Salakia. Right? It's just clay within and brass on the outside. You understand? And you know that there's no such thing as an inanimate object. It's clay and brass. It's never eaten or drink anything. Hit him with that little smile, like, I'm about to hurt your feelings. Salakia. You doing this to yourself. And you asked me, right? You asked. This is why I be telling my wives, you just asked to get yourself hurt. You know the answer. You just want me to hurt you. Because you know what the answer is. You know what I'm saying? When they ask them little stupid questions that they know the answer to, right? Anyways, verse 8. So the king was wroth and called for his priests and said unto them, if ye tell me not who this is that devoureth these expenses, ye shall die. So now, like what we read earlier in verse, was it 2? We'll read it again. Verse 2, and Daniel conversed with the king and was honored above all his friends. Daniel is honored above all of the king's friends. You understand? His advice, his words, is heavier than even his own priests. You understand? So what was the first thing that the king did? So it says the king was pissed, right? So he called for his priest. And he tells them, he says, man, if y'all don't tell me who's eating all of this food and who's drinking all this wine, I'm gonna kill you. It's that simple. You understand? Verse 9. But if ye can certify me that Baal devoureth them, then Daniel shall die. For he hath spoken blasphemy against Baal. And Daniel said unto the king, let it be according to thy word. So Daniel was like, oh, hey, word is bond. Let's do this. Exactly how you just said it. Let's make sure that we follow that to the T. I will give my life. I put my life on the line that, for one, I mean, it's like I'm kind of all over the place. Daniel is saying that. Why? What did we read that he said earlier? That's the hint. I know you wasn't here. It's kind of obvious though. Why is it that Daniel was so bold to say, okay, word is bond. Let's do it exactly the way that you just said. Okay, because he knew it was fake, but there's something else even greater than that, in particular, that was written, that we read. And I'm saying it's kind of obvious, like you should know it, even without reading it. And of course, if there's anybody online that wants to, take a stab at it as well, Bubba, I encourage y'all. It's important for y'all to participate in these classes. Y'all's comments, for one, it does boost our algorithm, to get these classes, pushed out and whatnot. But also, like we got a trooper that had came in, like you got to make sure that you sharp. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, go ahead. And because there was only one God, because he served the Most High God, the one and only true God. Exactly. See, you didn't even need to read it, because what it actually says right here is, let me scroll up real quick. We'll just read it real quick, right? Verse 4, and the king worshipped it and went daily to adore it, but Daniel worshipped his own God. And the king said unto him, why dost not thou worship Baal? Who answered and said, because I may not worship idols made with hands, but the living God, who hath created the heaven and the earth and have sovereignty over all. Daniel knows what he worships. Daniel knows what God there is and the gods there ain't. Daniel knows, right? But obviously these priests, this king, these other nations, they'll take these types of lies to their grave, obviously, right? Or else we wouldn't have this amazing story that I love to break down, which when we come up on Thanksgiving, I'm breaking it down again. When we coming up on Christmas, I'm breaking it down probably twice in 1 week. Just the simple fact that, what a week later is, what's that called? I said it too. New Year's. I ain't gonna do it twice in 1 week, but y'all get what I'm saying, right? So, verse 10. Now the priests of Baal were 70. Y'all know what a score is? So every No. It's a count. It's how we count. So, like, you know how when you would do a tally system, and when you hit the fifth one, you do it, you give it a strike. I can't remember. That actually has a name for it. When you make 5, I can't remember what it is. But so a score is every 20. Yeah, it's every 20. So 3 score is 3 times 20 is 60, and then 10. So there's 70 priests. Right now, mind you, like we had brought out earlier, how much freaking food was being brought to this doggone statue every day. That's why I really emphasized that when I read it. There was 40 sheep or 40 lamb. What was it? 40 lamb. Let's read it. 40 lamb, 12 great measures of fine flour, 40 sheep, and 6 vessels of wine. You understand? That was being eaten every day by this brass and clay idol, false idol, right? Well, now we know that there's 70 priests, right? 70 priests of Bel, right? Now the priests of Bel were 70, beside their wives and children. So now there's 70 priests, then their children and their wives, right? And the king went with Daniel into the temple of Bel. Verse 11. So Bel's priest said, "Lo, we go out, but thou, O king, set on the meat and make ready the wine and shut the door fast and seal it with thine own signet." So now the priests are saying, okay, look, so this is what we're going to do. All right. You're going to set out the sacrifice, what's going to Bel, and we're going to close and lock the door. And you're going to seal that lock with your signet. So just like how we have the Magan Dawada, right? So there are brothers who have, this on as rings. Like one in particular, our camp leader out here, Officer 5000 Shabal, I'm just going to say I am righteously envious of his ring. That's probably going to be my next ring, is to get one like his. But so what they would do, I wish I had a ring on me. What they would do is that ring would be on their finger. You get that hot wax, right? And then you put it on the envelope or whatever it is that you want to keep sealed, right? And then you press your ring on it. So then now you got the Magan Dawada on it, right? That signet on it. But right here, it's that king, this king of Babylon, right? It's going to be his seal, his signet, okay? Verse 12, and tomorrow when thou comest in, if thou findest not that Bel hath eaten up all, we will suffer death. We will suffer death, or else Daniel that speaketh falsely against us, right? So they're saying, like, look, we're gonna seal it, and as long as this isn't, the seal is not broken, and this, that, and the other, and if the food's not eaten by Bel, then hey, you got it. You got it, my lord. You got it, my king. We'll die. But when it is gone, make sure you kill it. Make sure you kill Daniel, right? Especially because he's lying against us, right? Oh, Most High Christ, trooper. Verse 13. And they little regarded it, for under the table they had made a privy entrance, whereby they entered in continually and consumed those things. So they really didn't think anything about it. They was like, man, we've been doing this for, X amount of time. Like, I'm not worried about it. You seal the lock doesn't mean anything. We already have a way of getting into this what would you call it? Not sacrifice room, donation room. This, I can't think of the word for it, but we have access, a private trapdoor access into this room. We're not worried about it because we've been doing this, right? They're not thinking about it. All right, so like they're not regarding it, right? whereby they entered in continually and consumed those things. This is something they've been doing. Verse 14. So when they were gone forth, the king set meats before Bel. Now Daniel had commanded his servants to bring ashes, and those that strewed Salakia, and those they strewed throughout all the temple in the presence of the king alone. Then went they out and shut the door and sealed it with the king's signet, and so departed. So what Daniel did here was he had the servants take ashes and sprinkle it around the floor, right? You know, now mind you, this Bible gives you wisdom and knowledge. You think, of course, Daniel is going to be bold on it and not just think, oh, the Most High is just going to shed a light and reveal these things. You understand? This actually shows you that you still have to do your part on proving that the Most High God is, who He is. You understand? It's not always going to be a case of like Elijah. When Elijah was going against those what was it, like 40 priests, I think it was, and they're like, okay, get your God, the light, put this on fire. And then he even, he's sitting there talking all types of shit. You know what? Maybe your God, went on vacation or he's sleeping. Maybe y'all need to be louder. Woo. In fact, I'm gonna even give y'all an even bigger handicap. I'm gonna douse my wood with Paul's locking. I'm gonna douse my timber with water. I'm gonna drown it with water, and my God is gonna show His power. I'm gonna kill y'all, because that was the wager between Elijah and those priests, right? It's not always going to be a case and matter like that. We gotta always remember that our works, what we do, is also how the Most High God reveals Himself to the world, so that we can bring our brothers and sisters out of the world into this truth. Y'all understand? Right? So, of course, Daniel had that knowledge, and that's why Daniel, using his wisdom, sprinkled some damn ashes. And we're going to see what comes out of him. Pause. What happens from him applying that wisdom and putting those ashes on the floor, you understand, when this wager is going on, right? So, verse 15. Now, in the night came the priests with their wives and their children, as they were wont to do, and did eat and drink up all. So, just like what they usually do. At night, they show up, ate and drank, the priests, their wives, their children, everybody all together, feasting every day. I'm pretty sure them priests was fat. Man, 40 sheep amongst 70 men. I mean, and let's be real. There's not a single man that's eating an entire sheep by himself. Sheep ain't all that big, but come on, man. That's a lot of freaking food. And all that wine, goddamn, right? Them kids was eating good, bastards. Right? So verse 16. In the morning betime, the king arose and Daniel with him. Salaki. Before we go any further, because I don't think you were here when I asked what this sounds like in the first place as far as a holiday. So I'm going to ask it a second time. What holiday does this sound like? Thanksgiving. That sounds like Thanksgiving. Wow. I mean, I can see where you're going with that. No. Because you got to think the reason for the feasting. Now, I don't know 100% if there is a feast due to like the heathens keep a feast. Biblically, they keep a feast because of the genocide that they commit against us. I'm not 100% sure if that's in, if that's in the scriptures. I actually want to find out for myself. I want to find that out. Don't let me forget to write that down. Yeah, I'm writing that one down. Oh, that I mean, hell, there's Christmas in there. There's, there's this is the cards. Easter's in there. Like all of these these fake holidays are in there. I just don't think I've ever seen. I left my book bag in the freaking car. All right, just don't let me forget. I just don't know if there is a feast like Thanksgiving, because Thanksgiving it's a celebration of genocide, right, against our people. In fact, you can look this up for yourself. But basically, so where the Thanksgiving dinner actually came from was I can't remember where exactly they were in the 13. It was I know it was part of one of the 13 colonies, but there was a colony that had word on a Gadite village, town, what have you, that were, basically taking refuge. So they weren't even aggressive. Like, they weren't aggressive. But so originally they weren't aggressive, but they started, getting warriors to go that way, to go and, help defend them. And so the colonizers, they got word of that, and before the defense got too great, they went and attacked them. And so part of like the propaganda that they pushed is a lot of us may die, woo. So we're gonna have a big feast now, go to war, and go and attack them, and then we'll celebrate with whatever comes back. Well, like I said, they were basically just building a defense, like getting warriors to rise up to go and help them in that area. So really, they didn't have any type of resistance at all, and it was like a complete massacre. And like they didn't even kill it; like they killed everyone. They didn't take any prisoners. They didn't take any survivors. They didn't allow for any. They hunted every single man, woman, and child in that village. I can't remember what the battle. There's a name for the battle too, but it was so they went and massacred them. They came back and were like, okay, this was this was obviously blessed by God. So that's where then they had the major feast, because damn near everybody came back. And so they, that was the Thanksgiving that they actually, that they, what do you call it? Sanctify. You know what I'm saying? There you go. Memorialize the water. So that's actually where it came from. Is they just celebrated the fact that it was a completely lopsided attack. And if I remember correctly, they didn't bring anybody back, because how they say, they teach us in school that there was the Indians and the Pilgrims, was them making peace. No, they massacred. They went to war. They took up arms, massacred our Gadite brothers and sisters, and then went back and celebrated, because their casualties includes those that are killed and also those that are hurt. Their casualties was very close to zero. They didn't even have people hurt. That's how lopsided it was. That's how ridiculous it was, because of the fact that, like I said, they were defenseless. They really didn't have anything. And that's what Thanksgiving is in celebration of. That's what it's memorialized for, is a particular massacre military movement. Bastards. Goddamn devils that the Bible speaks of. Salakia. Right? So I do got to remember, I'm for sure going to ask that to Officer Shabal if there is a particular feast that the heathens have biblically that reflects Thanksgiving, because we know like these things happen over and over again throughout history. That's why we're able to read a lot of these things and prophesy the way that we're able to. But there's other holidays that we feast on. Just think of everything in context. Think of it like this. This is going to be my hint. The king that we're dealing with right now, that we're reading about, that made that wager between his priests and Daniel, is a child, is a gullible child. Drawing a blank. Is there anybody, Trooper, if you're still in the class, what holiday does this sound like that we just read about? Think of everything. Just think of everything that we just laid out. There's going to be food and drink. We're going to seal it, and then, once it's all sealed, we're going to go to bed. And we're going to check on it the next morning. And if it's Christmas, that's Christmas. Tell me that's not Christmas. How is that not Christmas? That's some imaginary fat dude in a red suit, some way, somehow sliding down a goddamn chimney. Some people didn't even have freaking chimneys. They had them down, what do they call them heaters, not heaters, but it's like I didn't have one. I've seen them though. You know what I'm talking about? They look like coiled bars. That's the best way I can describe them. How was Santa Claus getting through that? Unless, of course, you watched was that movie with Tim Allen? Was it Santa Claus? I think, he found a way. I guess that's how Santa Claus does do it. And I guess it would make sense. That's how he gets out all them cookies and all that milk in between houses. Because he hit, every once in a while he hits one of those houses that ain't got a chimney. I guess. You know what I'm saying? But it's the same exact thing. I'm gonna lay out I'm gonna lay out a treat for you to eat and drink. The only difference is a radiator. Oh, the water. It's a radiator. They're called radiators. The only difference is Bell does this. They do this every day. Santa Claus is Christmas. He only it's only once a year. It's like he says, like it's a so-called Christmas, all pagan. Now you're exactly right, Trooper. There might be a little bit of a delay. You did get it. You know what I'm saying? Right? So it sounds that's Christmas in a nutshell. That's Christmas in Egypt. That's Christmas in ancient Egypt. Christmas in Babylon. Oh, wait. We're in Babylon. And what do we keep? Isn't that what we read in the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 1, verse 9? Just to paraphrase it, there's nothing new under the sun. You understand? You're not new. The custom's not new. There's not a single thing on the face of this earth that is new. It's all, it just looks different. That's it. I wasn't this ugly in my last life. I was probably uglier in my last life than I am in this life. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just got a different face and you sound different. Same thing with all these other religions. Same thing with all these devices. Same, but different, but still same. If y'all like movies like me, y'all know what that's from. But anyways, all right, moving on. Right? In the morning, the king arose and Daniel with him. Verse 17. And the king said, Daniel, are the seals whole? And he said, Yea, O king. they be whole. So he's asking that seal that was on that lock, has the seal been broken? Has anybody entered in through this doorway? Now, the king is a gullible child. He don't know no better. So he's just worried about this pathway. The only one I know about is this lock. Has it been broken? Daniel said, no, it's still whole. Right? Verse 18, and as soon as he had opened the door, the king looked upon the table and cried with a loud voice, great art thou, O Baal, and with thee is no deceit at all. So the king looks inside and sees, all the food is eaten, all the lamb's gone, the 12 great measures of flour is gone, the 6 vessels of wine is gone. It's all gone. For surely, Baal is real. Baal is living. Baal is a living God, right? Hold on. We still got more verses to read. Now that's an excellent point, Trooper. Anything to keep us away from our holy days. That's an excellent point. They will do anything and everything. And you know what? And that's why I love this. That's part of the reason why I love this book, Bel and the Dragon, is because these other nations are so doggone wicked that they are willing to die for a lie, knowing that it's a lie. Because who's about to die for a lie? These priests. These 70 priests of Baal are about to die for a lie that they know goddamn well they're wicked as hell for. Pause. Slacky. So no, excellent point, Trooper. Verse 18, and as soon as he had opened the door, the king looked upon the table and cried with a loud voice, great art thou, O Baal, with thee is no deceit at all. Verse 19, this is like, y'all can't tell me this ain't one with this is Commander General Yohana. This is General Mahayim. This is the spirit that is in One West. You understand? In the ISUPK, right? Verse 19, then Daniel laughed and held the king that he should not go in and said, behold, now the pavement, and mark well whose footsteps are these. So he said, oh, king, my lord, king. Oh, man, I got a cramp, man. Like, you got me laughing so doggone hard. Like, you're not paying it. You looking at the table. You got to look at the whole picture, my man. Look at this pavement. Look at the floor. You worried about the table, but whose footsteps are those? This is what we was reading earlier when he had the servants sprinkle the ash all along the floor, right? Whose footsteps are these? That's what he asked. Verse 20, and the king said, I see the footsteps of men, women, and children. And then the king was angry. Now, I mean, he's a gullible child, but at least he ain't a dummy. You can see that there was children's feet. I don't know how the hell you can differentiate between a woman's foot and a man's foot, but hey, they say that the sciences and the knowledge way back then far exceeds what it is today. So I'll give it to the king, because pause. That's spectacular that you are able to identify a man's foot from a woman's foot. But hey, he did it. He realized it. He knew that something was going on, and that's why he pissed all over again, right? Verse 21, and took the priests with their wives and children and showed him the privy doors where they came in and consumed such things as were upon the table. Then Daniel was like, hey, you see this door? Like, because of course you're able to trace the footsteps from whence they came and from whence they went, right? You can track to and fro. Everything leads back to the door of Babylon, the door of Babel, the door of these lying heathen bastards, right? That put their lives on the line against Daniel's life. Knowing damn well they some liars. They just didn't take into account the fact that they was actually going against the Most High God. They just one of those heathen people that will play the game, play the charade of there is a God, there are gods, there is a God, what have you, either or. But I know whatever God or gods that I'm pushing is BS. Who can you tell me an example of who does something like that? Anybody online, give me an example of who does something like that. It doesn't matter what religious practice that you reference. Just give me an example. And there's one in particular, like, I hope y'all can read my mind, because I'll go in on them, but we're getting a little bit short on time. So I'm gonna give y'all just a few more moments. You just look like you just don't. You afraid of being wrong, huh? We'll give online a few more moments. And of course, I'm gonna say this as well. If there's anybody online or the classroom that has any questions, raise your hand or post it in the chat, whether it's on topic or off topic. You understand? It's important for y'all to ask your questions. It's important for you to, get this understanding, gain this knowledge and this wisdom. You understand? So that we can all grow together as a people. You understand? Because you know what? Me doing that that edification service for you, that how do you say, that transfers over to the next brother, the next sister that, you know what I'm saying? Like, you may be just a trooper, but that transfers over to the next brother or next sister that you pull out the world. You understand? Like, these things transfer over. You get what I'm saying? That's why these classes are so important. These classes are important for us to ask these types of questions, right? But since, all right, just for the sake of time, what comes to mind when I think about somebody that is blatantly in line with their life on the line is them doggone African booty scratchers. Y'all be seeing them things in they churches where now was this the Africans or was this in America where dude had sex with a woman in front of the his church and was saying that was Africa, wasn't it? And it was saying like something along the lines like this is the Holy Ghost for it. Like they be doing some outrageous things to each other on display, knowing goddamn well they lying. But the people believe it. The people eat it up. They love it. They love it. How you know they love it? Because they come each and every week. I don't know if they actually do Sundays or they do Saturdays, whatever, Bible study Wednesdays, whatever. Those people show the hell up to watch somebody. I seen one video where the pastor farted on a female. I read one article that he was saying, he was having the women, if they wanted to get a husband, he can give them the Holy Spirit, or they say Holy Ghost, the Holy Ghost of marriage by if they gave him fellatio. And then he finished in their mouth. Bold-faced ass lies. No, if anybody was just, and this is also how you know the Africans don't have anywhere near the spirit of being an Israelite. Because you know what? What are we doing here in America when it comes when somebody sees something fugazi? What do? Well, either they'll switch churches. But what the new movement is our brothers and sisters are just leaving religion alone. Period. You understand? We are coming out in droves out of the Christian church. And Barakatah Yahweh wa Yahweh Shai for that movement in itself. Lord allow it helps, it's on even larger droves by the hour, by the minute that brothers and sisters start coming out of these wicked ass Christian churches. Salakia. But y'all understand, our people, when we start to see some fugazi nonsense, we'll at least leave. Maybe not everybody, because you still got them hypnotized ass goofy, and of course it's mostly the women, especially the older sisters. Not my pastor, with the big ass hats, who just they've been going to that church for 60 doggone years. Probably been. No, I ain't gonna say that. They have the hardest time of just leaving that, that environment, that what they've already been, where they've already been at. They got more loyalty to that doggone wicked church than they will ever have to any man. Because they'll sit there and watch and hear about these pastors, go through several different pastors within one church, because he's a child molester, he's a homosexual, he's selling drugs, wasn't one of them Christian pastors, that he got exposed for being a pimp, like a legit pimp. Oh, but you get what I'm saying? They pretty much are pimps. That is what they are. They pimping everybody in that doggone church. Because you ain't gonna tell me they ain't having sex with these doggone females and then just giving them away like slop. Come on now. Right? But all right. We're just gonna leave it alone. We're gonna move on. We're getting a little short on time. I do want to move get some more of this done. We will continue wherever we leave off next week, Lord allow, on Tuesday. Right? So we'll read verse 20 again. Bell of the Dragon, chapter 1, verse 20. And the king said, I see the footsteps of men, women, and children. And the king was angry and took the priests with their wives and children and showed him the privy doors where they came in and consumed consumed such things as were upon the table. Verse 22. Therefore the king slew them and delivered Bel into Daniel's power, who destroyed him and his temple. Now, y'all realize who all just got killed right there, right? We know that the wager originally was, okay, you 70 priests against Daniel. Let's get to the truth of this. If these priests that I follow lie to me, I'm gonna kill you. Daniel, if you're lying to me because you spoke blasphemy against my God, I got to kill you. Right? Well, we found out that those 70 priests of Bel of Babylon lied. It wasn't just the priests. Their women and their children suffered as well. They partook in that consequence as well. And that has to be a lesson in itself for everybody to understand, because what does it say in the book of Revelations? And I'm just, we're not gonna pull it. I'm just gonna paraphrase it for y'all, right? Is how it tells us to come out of her, just paraphrasing it, we'll keep it simple. Come out of her, children of Israel, come out of Babylon, so that you do not partake of her cup, that overflowing cup of sin. So those that are partaking in the ways and I mean, hell, whatever the hell that America has her hand in and on and is conducting herself with, anybody that's partaking with that is going to get destruction along with it. You understand? So for those of y'all that are in the world, you so-called Christians, you so-called, oh, I believe in God, but I don't know the power, whatever. Make your election sure. You understand? Because if you are partaking in worldly ways, if you are partaking in the ways of the world is getting destruction. That pestilence, that famine, these plagues are going to come upon anybody. The destruction is going to come down upon anybody who is partaking in that cup of sin. You understand? Which also includes the Israelites or the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. If you are, you still being a homosexual, you're still being an alternative lifestyle. You're still, selling drugs. You're still doing the things that the Most High God had commanded you, not just told you, but commanded you not to do. You are partaking in that cup, and you will get the same destruction that those other nations are going to get, because there's no way out for them. You understand? They've all, I believe, I want to say Japheth's probably the only one who doesn't really have a hand in the cup, to be honest. And that's the Samoans and Hawaiians and stuff like that. But everybody else, the smallest hand in the Atlantic slave trade, the smallest hand in the what is it called with the Arabic slavery, I guess, is what the Middle East slave, when we was enslaved by the Muslims. You understand? Anybody that's had a hand in our destruction throughout history, there's no way out for them. They're going to pay for what they have done to the Lord's chosen, to the Lord's people. You understand? This is more so a warning for so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, that if you don't want to have the same destruction as them, you need to stop doing the same things that they're doing. You need to pull away from their ways. You understand? And like I've been saying, this is one of the biggest holiday seasons right now, at least in America and in Europe. So that's why I'm doing this class right now. I'm belling the dragon. You understand? It's for y'all to help y'all, to Lord allow, help y'all realize that when you are partaking in their ways, just even as a how do you say, an accomplice, you're guilty. You're helping somebody partake in these ways, you're guilty. You understand? So it's important for y'all, blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, it's important for y'all to understand, y'all need to come out of her, my people. You understand? You need to seek the Most High God. You need to come into the ISUPK, get in these doggone classes, learn to shed your worldly ways. Because y'all see these prophecies unfolding. It's short. Ooh, we short on time. Because what did it say? What did the disciples ask Yahushua? Just really quick, and then we'll get back on it. What did the disciples ask Yahushua? Well, how will we know when you are returning? Yahushua said, basically, paraphrasing, when there will be a time of, there will be wars and rumors of wars. There will be earthquakes in diverse places. Look at what the hell is going on this earth. There is no real, there will never be any type of kumbaya unity in the first place. But how just everything is out of whack. Nobody is able to have peace. No, I mean, hell, the earth can't even have peace with itself because there's constantly hurricanes, constantly earthquakes, constantly new volcanoes. I mean, hell, they're saying that Yellowstone is getting more and more to the brink of, it's bursting its little bubble, and they say that happens. That's the destruction on that is terrible. It's going to be, if the Lord allows that to happen, death and destruction in Babylon is what follows with that. Y'all understand? Now that is why the scripture says it is high time to awake out of your sleep. That sleep is you thinking that shit is sweet, that it's okay to be a homosexual. It is okay to sell and do drugs. It is okay to be a stripper, to be a whore. It is okay to do what everybody else does. You understand? It is time for you to wake up, Black, Latino, and Native American man and woman to learn who you are and the way that you are supposed to act according to the Most High God. You understand? All right, moving on. Verse 23, and in that same place there was a great dragon, which they of Babylon worshiped. So not only were they worshiping Baal, whom of which was on the inside made of clay, on the outside made of brass, they also had a dragon of which in Babylon they worshiped. You understand? Now, mind you as well, just to go back to, what I kind of did read over. It says that verse 22, therefore the king slew them and delivered Baal into Daniel's power, who destroyed him and his temple. When the king allowed Daniel to have possession of Baal, Daniel did the righteous thing, and that was to destroy Baal and the temple thereof of Baal. You understand? Wiped it off, because now that allows nobody else to continue to worship Baal. There will be no more deceit, because you got to think it's never just subject to that nation who is worshiping that idol, that false god. You understand? Who else becomes a victim? And quite frankly, it's the only victim that the Most High God cares about. Who else becomes a victim of worshiping a false idol? Us, exactly. The Israelites, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. You understand? And actually, since we're getting into the second half of Bel and the Dragon, and we are only on short time, we'll end it here, right? So give me 1 second. I'm gonna read y'all the announcements. I know I haven't done that in a while, so this will be a little bit new for some of y'all. Security announcements. Give me 1 second, Bubba Shah. All right. These are the ISUPK security announcements. We are the ISUPK started at 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Rule for new brother and sister. When a new brother or sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to shed themselves with the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There's another 6 months in which the brother and sister will court each other. After this 6-month period, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment, which can be found in the book of Numbers, chapter 18, verse 21, and the book of Malachi, chapter 3, verses 8 through 10. Maishara, which means tenth in the Hebrew, 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you, give to the treasury department or teacher. So again, make sure y'all pay your tithes. You understand? It is a commandment. All right. Priest fund, free will offering for priests. It's not mandatory. It could be whatsoever amount you would like. We currently have the West Coast annual cookout happening in California for anybody that is in the West Coast that wants to give further information. Either reach out to your respective camp leader, or you can also reach out to the ISUPK Las Vegas Facebook page and inquire about information so that you may go to the so that you may attend the barbecue this upcoming weekend. It's from this, I believe it's this Thursday to Sunday, or is it this Friday to Sunday? You know, if you miss out, man, you really don't know what you're missing out on. Like, especially if it would have been your first time. Like these events is buku fun. You know, as long as you are so-called Negro. You are so-called Negro, Latino, Native American, according to the seed of your father, you may attend, right? If anyone wants to be a trooper in the school, to start wearing all black, boot, shirt, pants, headband, and scarf. And with that, class dismissed.